Entering as a newcomer in a relatively saturated market is not easy. It requires a very good value proposition, a lot of capital, and a very aggressive pricing, all in order to fight for a small piece of the pie. The Backbone One for the iPhone is just that, a new competitor looking to fix the iOS controller offering, with an expensive but well-thought product that at first glance makes you want to support this company. But it's surrounded by an app and a service that makes you think that they're trying to scam you. Let's see how it works, what features it has, and how it compares to its competition, especially the Razer Kishi. And what a stupid mistake the company is doing, that is a clear abuse of its customers. Welcome back, I'm Claudio, and this is Zero to Tech. The Backbone One was created by Backbone Labs, a startup founded in 2018 specifically to improve the mobile gaming experience. It's a new player in the industry, and this is their first product, but they're going all in on designs, features, and the app. As part of the marketing efforts, they have signed up as direct partners with Nvidia for GeForce Now and with Microsoft for xCloud. A USB-C version of the controller is supposed to come sometime in the future. To open the box, it has this stamp which allows you to open the cardboard that surrounds it, but I'm going to skip it. The inner box has the Backbone logo and a smooth texture, quite nice. We open it to see the controller and a card which tells you how to put the phone. Under the box there is a safety guide and no manuals. It uses a telescopic mechanism to hold the phone from both sides. It's like two Joy-Cons connected by a column, with a lightning port on one side. This column has a surprise. Instead of just separating the two pieces, we see that there is a third piece inside, which appears when opened. This third piece has the logos for the certification and the standards in the center, and on the back, the Backbone logo appears. Nice. The mechanism feels pretty good. There are two rubber bands to hold the phone in each side. One with a drop not to scratch the cameras. Although its design is already old, if you have an iPhone 13 Pro or a Pro Max, you can request a free 3D printed adapter. Without it, it still works, but again, you might scratch the camera. It also has a little curve so it doesn't slip. The plastic is of a very good quality, with a very soft texture to the touch, but it's a fingerprint magnet. You'll see as soon as you touch it. Controller-wise, it has a typical Xbox layout with the left stick above the D-pad, and the right one below the front buttons. These are the same ones as the Nintendo Joy-Con, but with a slightly different cap. They feel the same and they have the same travel. The front buttons has the Xbox ABXY arrangement, with the letters in white. They use micromembrane, the same as the Switch. The function buttons too, but here we have 4, which will be Select and Start, a button with the Backbone logo, and another for the screenshots. The top buttons are marked L1, R1, L2, and R2. The first ones are a micro switch, and they feel pretty good. The L2 and R2 are analog, although they have very little trouble, less than the Kishi. But unlike the ones on the first Kishi, when you press them, the movement is smooth. At the bottom, we have the lightning port, and the next surprise, a headphone adapter, which is something that all these controllers should have to compete with the consoles. To set the phone, first you put the top on the left side, and extend the controller until you can connect it on the other side. It's easy and quick, but just like the Kishi, you need to remove any case. To remove it, you do the same, but first disconnect it and then remove the phone. Be careful to do it in that order, because if you don't, you'll put too much stress on the connector. The phone doesn't fit as firm as in the Kishi. I'm not brave enough to do the stability tests by shaking it, especially because the phone rests on the top of the connector. It does not reach the rubber or plastic. Yes, the connector is made of metal, but if the controller moves too much, or worse yet, if you drop it with the phone on, the stress on the port and the connector will likely damage them. Not ideal. Just be careful. The rest is a controller as you expect. You can connect it and start gaming, but Backbone does include certain features that we have not seen in other controllers. First and most obvious, the headphone jack. I know Apple says everyone has Bluetooth headphones, but having access to this connector gives you more options. Too bad it's no longer the standard. We also have the lightning port. In this case, it is used to charge the phone, just like the Razer Kishi, but Backbone went much further. You can also use it to connect it to any other device, like an iPad, Mac, PC or Android. But to activate it, you need to have the Backbone application and subscribe to their stupid Backbone Plus subscription. More on that later. Just go to Settings, select Play on any screen, and choose which device you want to connect it to. Then you connect the cable to the port, and then the device, and voila! You can use it as a USB controller. Excellent. This is the kind of functionality that seriously makes a difference. It stops being just a controller for your phone and becomes a truly universal one. Unfortunately, to activate it and change the protocols, you need the subscription, and this is where everything starts to go downhill. The controller has two additional buttons. The capture button, which, if you press it, starts taking video, or stream, and if you leave it pressed, it takes a photo. It is not rocket science, it uses the same screenshot function that the iPhone already has. And the other one with the Backbone logo, that changes between the app and wherever you're playing. For what? I don't know. The problem is that you need the app, and installing it sounds many alarms. First, they ask you for access to your Apple account. At least, they only ask you for your name because thanks to Apple, you can hide your email. Then some not important things, and then they ask you to confirm your phone with an SMS, which means giving them your phone number. Then they ask you for access to your contacts to connect with your friends, which fortunately you can deny. And those are two already major red flags. These are typical steps of a company that does not care about its product, and what they're looking for is your information. But the worst part is that at the end, they force you to subscribe to their Backbone Plus service, which costs $50 a year, all to use their application. Yes, they give you the first year for free, so then you can forget you are subscribed and they will charge you automatically the following year. It is ridiculous that after paying $100 for a controller, they want to charge you another $50 to use it, and if you don't accept, you cannot use the additional functions. I don't like to throw a lot of dirt on companies. I understand that they are trying to make money, but they're trying to milk your information and then charge you a fee to use the app. Just as a comparison, the Switch expansion pack is expensive, but this is an abuse. With this nonsense, their value proposition goes to waste. And check this, they never mention it on their advertising. They don't even have it on their page. And with $50, we can buy a new SN30 Pro or an original Razer Kishi every year. With those two controllers, you have everything you need. Ridiculous. The only place they mention it is if you go all the way down and open this question. And they don't even mention the price. A typical case of small letters. And well, this left me in real bad spirits, but that's no reason to stop testing the controller. We start the test with Call of Duty Mobile, and almost all good. The buttons work as expected. The only detail is that the sticks are very small, so they don't have much trouble, and this translates into less precision. If you are used to play shooters with Joy-Cons, you will have no problem, but if you prefer controllers like the Xbox and the PlayStation ones, they're gonna feel cheap, unlike the Kishi's sticks. The same in Halo. It can be played, but you must get used to them, mainly when you want to make very small adjustments, because you always overdo it, although you'll get used to them eventually. In Rush Rally 3, we see that the analog buttons are too short to have precise control. You can barely manage to throw, to brake and accelerate. More trouble would have been better. At least the buttons feel great when pressed. But then, in Forza Horizon 5 with xCloud, they felt a little better. I think it's because the game is more arcade-like and gives you better margin for mistakes. But overall, I consider this button to be slightly better than digital ones for racing games. In Dead Cells, it feels good, but the short sticks in this case help. It's easier to change direction, so movements from one side to another can be very fast. If you want to use the D-pad, you can also play it on xCloud. Finally, we tested the D-pad in RetroArch, and it's one of the best D-pads I have ever tested on any of these telescopic controllers. In the sequence test with Street Fighter, it works perfectly. Everything worked on the first try, and it's also perfect in the direction test. In Contra 3, you can force it to mix diagonals, but I could only do it in the left ones, and with a lot of work. There is no way you mix them by accident while gaming. Great for this kind of controller. Something that is also a little off is that the select and the start buttons are in a trivial place. When you're playing and try to press them, you always press the orange button or the capture button by accident. Yes, of course the buttons for which you must pay $50. Reversing the other was much more obvious. Now, to be fair, the controller works perfectly without having the app installed. If you want to record your game, you can use the iPhone screen recorder, and if you configured any of the protocols to connect it to another device, the configuration is not deleted. You just cannot change it. So I would recommend leaving it on PC, which is X input. Just be careful, and while gaming, don't press any of the Backbone buttons, because you will immediately get a message prompting to install the app. Believe me, it's going to be annoying. Unfortunately, the sales executive of some companies make decisions only focused on achieving their results, and not on offering value to the client. And the Backbone Plus service is a clear result of this. Just look at the hidden page where the Backbone Plus was announced. There is no link from the front page, and it's full of empty promises like possible trials for xCloud and Stadia, and nonsense like more immersion, better performance, improved search, and exclusive prices. Yes, and of course, NFTs. The awards for the best bullcrap speech of the year. Just promises, zero commitments. I'm also sure they tell the reviewers they sent the controller not to mention the service. And if you add the dirty tactics to take your info and force you to subscribe, it's clearly not a company focuses on its customers. The controller cost $100, which is pricey, but with features like the headphone jack, being able to connect it via USB, the record button, and a good D-pad, while pricey, there may be some justification. In fact, if it was just about the hardware, I like it better than the Kishi. Now you can check the review for the Kishi version 2, which is a big copy of this one, without the dump service. Or maybe the original Kishi and the games here too. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, retro games, modern technology, zero to tech.